Hey guys, it's Diego here. Hi. Hello. Today I have with me Etude House's new eyeshadow palettes, and they are the Etude House's Play Color Eyes Minis. Among these palettes, I already have reviewed Strawberry Blossom palette in my previous Strawberry Blossom kit review. With 3 other palettes on top of that, I have a total of 4 palettes today from Play Color Eyes Mini line. So, let's get started. Etude House's Play Color Eyes Mini has released a total of 4 palettes, which are the Peach Jelly, Strawberry Blossom, Cookie Class, and Coffee Brewing palettes. Each palette and the visual palettes come with a design fitting of their name. I personally feel that the pictures and letters on the palettes are the charm of Etude House, so I personally really like their mood. Opening the lids, I can see that each palette consists of a total of 6 colors, and all the shadows are arranged vertically, organized with lovely, fresh, warm, and deep feeling colors. Looking at the color of the shadows, I feel that the colors of each palette have their own unique feel to them, so I think it'll be good to use by choosing the color you want. The matte shadows apply very softly without fallout. The shimmer shadows apply moisturizingly, and I feel that the glitters apply more aggressively when applied with my finger than they do with a brush. Overall, the shadow colors seem to be applied lighter than what I see, so if you want darker application, I think it'll be best to apply it several times over. So first, the Play Color Eyes Mini Peach Jelly. The Peach Jelly palette is a palette with 3 peach colors that are full of peach juice vibes. I think these are the colors that can turn me into a lovely peachy person. The first shadow, Honey Peach, is a yellow pearl shadow with a yellow beige base. The second shadow, Juicy Peach, is a champagne gold pearl shadow on a transparent base. The third shadow, Soft Peach, is a burnt coral matte shadow with a bit of dry filling. The fourth shadow, Soda Peach, is a gold shimmer shadow on a pink base. The fifth shadow, Nectar Peach, is a brown matte shadow mixed with a bit of an orange. The sixth shadow, Ice Peach, has a copper base with gold pearls. Overall, the peach jelly seems to have orangish bases and coralish colors, so I think this palette is great for people who usually like or work with warm or fresh feeling colors or makeup. Next is the Strawberry Blossom, which I reviewed previously. The Strawberry Blossom palette is a palette with 3 strawberry colors that feels full of fresh strawberries. Since they are sweet and romantic feeling colors, I think it can create sweet strawberry looks. The first shadow, Strawberry 8, is a transparent base with light purple, gold, silver, and pink pearls. The second shadow, Strawberry Sorbet, looks like it has silver pearls on a pink-red base. The third shadow, Strawberry Macaron, is an unsaturated, slightly grayish pink matte shadow. The fourth shadow, Strawberry Madeleine, is a slightly grayish pink-beige brown matte shadow. The fifth shadow, Strawberry Fizz, is a silver and gold pearl shadow with purple point pearls. The sixth shadow, Strawberry Chocolate, is a brown base with gold shimmer shadow. Like I've mentioned, this palette is the palette which I have reviewed in the Strawberry Blossom kit, and since this palette is another new palette, I felt that it applied more strongly than the palette I used before. Overall, I think Strawberry Blossom palette is a palette with pink colors that reminds me of Blossom, so I think people who likes or usually uses lovely feeling makeups or pinkish colors will like this palette. Next, for the third palette, we have Cookie Class. The Cookie Class palette, like its name, is a palette of brown baked cookies. Since they're warm and moody colors, I think this palette is great to use daily. The first shadow, Mini Pretzel, is a gold pearl shadow on a bronze base. The second shadow, Finger Stick, is a veil beige shimmer pearl shadow. The third shadow, Pumpkin Butter Cookie, is a color that reminds me of baked brown bread. The fourth shadow, Ginger Cookie, is a dried apricot matte shadow. The fifth shadow, Chocolate Chip Cookie, is a standard brown matte shadow. The sixth shadow, Pecan Cookie, has a copper base with luxurious gold pearls. The Cookie Class palette seems to have colors that reminds me of baked bread, so I think it'll be easy to use even for beginners and will be great for people who likes or usually uses shade or brown colors. And for the last palette, Coffee Brewing. The Coffee Brewing palette is a palette with barista extracted coffee colors. Overall, I think the colors feel as if they're covered with an autumn vibe filter. The first shadow, Specialty Coffee, is a hologram pearl shadow with various pearls. The second shadow, Medium Roasting, is a fig brown matte shadow. The third shadow, Blending Coffee, is a dry fig matte shadow. The fourth shadow, Hand Drip Latte, is a fig beige matte shadow. The fifth shadow, Coffee Grinder, is a deep matte shadow that is great to use as a liner. The sixth shadow, Mocha Pod, is a hologram, gold, and silver pearl shadow that feels transparent and gorgeous at the same time. The Coffee Brewing palette seems to have darker and more reddish colors than Cookie Class, so I think this will be great for people who usually likes and uses reddish brown colors or dark makeup. So like this, I've swatched and reviewed all 4 of the Etude House's Play Color Eyes Minis. I usually like to use Play Color Eyes palettes, so I use them really often, and I was so happy that they came out with these mini size palettes. I really like how they're so portable and convenient to carry around anywhere. Since I personally like and usually use shade and brown colors, I really liked Cookie Class. And since the shadow colors apply differently than how they appear on the palette, I want to give some recommendations for those who are curious about what colors to use. Peach Jelly has coral colors, so I recommend this palette for those who likes bright and warm colors. Like my previous review, since Strawberry Blossom has colors that feels cool and also neutral, I think this palette is great to use for people with warm and cool tones. Cookie Class is great to use for people who usually like shade or brown colors, and it's a palette that is easy to use even for beginners. And lastly, Coffee Brain seems to be a great palette for people who likes reddish brown or deep colors or like deep looking makeup. So I think it'll be best to choose a palette with the colors you want or the colors you use often, but since Strawberry Blossom palette applied darker than the previous one, I was a bit surprised. On a one side note, I did find it a bit unfortunate that this palette didn't include a very dark color that would be great to use as a liner or on the eyebrows like the other palettes, but still, I think it's still a great palette to use. So like this, my Edit Houses Play Color Eyes Mini all 4 palettes swatch and review is done. Thank you for watching my video today. Don't forget to subscribe, press the like buttons, and please leave some comments for me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!